Stop what you are doing right now. The Toronto Blue Jays just broke the internet. They did not wait for the winter meetings. They just dropped the biggest contract of the year. Dylan Cease is officially heading to Canada. We are talking about a massive blockbuster deal. The numbers are absolutely staggering, folks. 7 years for $210 million. That is $30 million per season. This is a clear message to the Yankees. The Blue Jays are officially all in. Think about this rotation for a second. You have Kevin Gausman leading the way. Now you add the strikeout king Dylan Cease. This is the best rotation in baseball. There is no debate about it anymore. Toronto saw the Orioles winning the division. They saw the Yankees making moves last year, and they decided enough was enough. This contract is historic for the franchise. It is the largest pitching contract they ever gave. Remember, they extended Vladdy Jr. earlier this year. That was a $500 million commitment. Now they add another $200 million on top. This front office is under massive pressure. They have to win the World Series now. There is no tomorrow for this team. Dylan Cease brings that electric fastball. He brings one of the best sliders in history, but it is a risky move too. Cease has had some control issues before. Walking batters has been his biggest problem, but when he is unhittable. Blue Jays fans, you should be screaming. Your ownership is finally spending the money. You asked for a true ace pitcher, and they went out and bought the best one. This changes the entire American League East. The balance of power has officially shifted. New York now has to respond immediately. Baltimore has to be looking at this nervously, because the Blue Jays just built a super team. But wait, because the West Coast is moving. Another team decided to open the checkbook, and this next move is strictly about power. Let's fly all the way across the country to the Pacific Northwest, where things are heating up. The Seattle Mariners are usually quiet in winter, but not this year. They just woke up. They secured the biggest power bat available. Josh Naylor is officially heading to Seattle, and the contract is absolutely massive for them. 5 years for $92.5 million. That is almost $20 million a year. For a first baseman who brings pure chaos. We all know the sad story with them. They have the best pitching staff in baseball, but they cannot score runs to save their lives. T-Mobile Park is where hitters go to die. It is historically the hardest place to hit. But Naylor might be the guy to change that. He brings an intensity that is actually scary. Remember his time with the Cleveland Guardians? He does not just want to hit home runs, he wants to destroy the baseball every time. This is the attitude change Seattle desperately needed. But let's look closer at the money here. Is $92 million too much for Josh Naylor? Some analytics guys are saying it is an overpay. They say his defense is just average at best, but you have to understand the Seattle tax. It is hard to convince hitters to play there because the stadium suppresses offense so much, so the Mariners had to offer that extra cash. They had to overpay to get him to sign. This puts them right back in the fight. The Astros and Rangers are watching this closely. The AL West is suddenly wide open again. If Naylor hits 30 home runs next year, this contract will look like a total bargain. But if the marine layer kills his power, it could be another expensive mistake for them. Think about the guys who failed there before. They cannot afford another offensive flop right now. Mariners fans have been waiting decades for this. They finally have a legitimate cleanup hitter. Someone who can protect Julio Rodriguez in the lineup. That is the key to this whole deal. Julio needs protection to see better pitches, and Naylor is the perfect bodyguard for him. But before we talk about the biggest gamble I have to ask you a serious question, do you want to be the smartest fan? The one who knows every trade first? Then you need to click that subscribe button. We are tracking every single dollar spent. From the winter meetings to opening day, it takes 1 second and helps us tons. Join the fastest growing baseball community. Now, speaking of risky financial decisions, we need to talk about a pitcher in Arizona who just bet his entire career on himself. And honestly, it might be a disaster. Let's talk about the biggest gamble of the day. Zac Gallen just looked at $22 million. And he said, absolutely not to the Diamondbacks. He officially rejected the qualifying offer this morning. That is a life-changing amount of guaranteed cash, but he decided to walk away into free agency. Now, let's be honest about his 2025 performance. It was frankly ugly to watch at times. His ERA ballooned up to almost 5 runs. He lost his command and his velocity dipped, so why would he turn down the safety net? This is the classic agent strategy at play here. He believes some team will pay for his past. Remember when he was a Cy Young contender? That is the pitcher he is trying to sell, but teams are smarter than they used to be. They see the declining spin rates on his curveball. They see the hard contact he gave up recently. Plus, signing him now costs a draft pick. That makes him a very expensive project to fix. He might have played himself into a dangerous corner. We might see him forced into a one-year deal, a prove-it deal to restore his value later. It is a high-wire act without a net. Now let's shift to the biggest mystery available, the crown jewel of this entire free agent class. Kyle Tucker is sitting there waiting for an offer, but the phone is ringing a little bit slower. And there is one specific reason for the silence. We have to talk about his hand injury again. That fracture he suffered back in June changed everything. Before the injury, he was a clear MVP candidate. He was on pace for 40 Maroons East, but when he came back in late September, he looked like a completely different player at the plate. The power was gone, and the swing was slow. General managers are terrified of lingering hand injuries. They can sap the power of hitters for years, so the question is strictly a medical one now. Is Kyle Tucker fully healed or damaged goods? Despite the fear the big market teams are lurking, the rumors linking him to New York are loud. Brian Cashman needs a left-handed bat in the Bronx. Imagine that swing with the short porch at Yankee Stadium. It feels like destiny for him to be there. But do not count out the New York Mets either. Steve Cohen has infinite money to spend on talent, and he loves stealing players from the Yankees, who are hearing talk of a 10-year contract. A decade-long commitment for over $300 million. But if the medicals come back, looking risky, that price tag could drop by half overnight. This is the most fascinating storyline to watch. The winter meetings next week will decide his fate. And speaking of fate, let's see who played it safe, who decided to take the money and run. Not every player has the stomach for risk. Some guys looked at the qualifying offer and smiled. They decided to secure the bag immediately. Let's start with Brandon Woodruff in Milwaukee. He accepted the offer to stay with the Brewers. This makes perfect sense for both sides, actually. Woodruff missed time and needs to rebuild value. Milwaukee gets their ace back for one more run. He gets a massive salary for one season, and if he pitches well, he hits the market again. Next year, he could get a 5-year deal. Then we have the Japanese sensation Shota Ima. He surprised everyone by staying with the Chicago Cubs. He accepted the $22 million to return. Cubs fans are breathing a massive sigh of relief. They could not afford to lose his production. He became a cult hero in Wrigley Field, fast, and frankly, he loves pitching in Chicago day games. Now here is the shocker of the deadline day. Gleyber Torres actually accepted the offer from Detroit. Wait, did I just say Detroit Tigers? Yes, he was traded there at the deadline, remember, and he apparently loved playing for A.J. Hinch. He decided to run it back. With that young core, Detroit is suddenly looking very dangerous in the Central, and finally, Trent Grisham stays in the Bronx. The Yankees keep their elite defensive center fielder. It gives them insurance if they miss on Tucker, so the chess pieces are set on the board. The qualifying offer deadline is officially past us now. All eyes turn south to Orlando, Florida. The winter meetings kick off next Monday morning. This is where the chaos truly begins usually. Agents and GMs all in the same hotel lobby, rumors flying around every elevator and bar. With Dylan Cease and Josh Naylor already gone, the market is moving faster than anyone expected. The pressure is now entirely on Alex Bregman and, of course, on the Juan Soto sweepstakes. Wait, did I forget to mention? Soto's free. Just kidding, he signed last year. Calm down. But the pressure is real for the remaining stars. Where will Pete Alonso land this winter? Is he going to leave the Mets forever? I want you to put your GM hat on. I need your expert predictions in the comments below. So here is the big question of the day. Question number 1 is about the money. Did the Blue Jays overpay for Dylan Cease? Is $210 million too much for a guy who walks batters? And question number 2 is about the risk. Did Zac Gallen make a mistake rejecting the offer? Will he regret walking away from $22 million? Let me know what you think down there. I read every single comment you guys post. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the market, please smash that like button on your way out. It tells YouTube to show this to more fans. We will be live from Orlando coverage next week. So make sure you are subscribed and ready. Thank you so much for watching Baseball Buzz Daily. The stove is hot, and we are just starting. I will see you guys in the next video.